Hey everybody, welcome to Take on the Lake with Lake Expo. I'm Nathan Bechtold. Glad you have joined us. And today we have an episode that is probably gonna build on a theme that you're gonna see and hear happening on this show over and over. The sole reason is because I find it fascinating and I can't quit thinking about it. And that theme is AI. And I think there probably is not a better person that I know to talk to about this than Sandy Waggett. So Sandy Waggett is the owner of MSW Interactive Designs, and they've been in business building websites and handling social media and solving internet problems for businesses at the lake and really nationally for how many years?
Since 1999,
Nice.
pre-Google.
Pre-Google, yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're into Google and we're beyond Google into AI land. We'll see if Google can hang. And so Sandy is the owner of their MSW Interactive Designs, and she's a mathematician by training, and so she's got that logic brain, and as we've been friends for a long time. But Sandy travels the country talking about AI. A lot of it in terms of applications for entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yes.
And actually, just yesterday, Sandy and I were talking about an upcoming opportunity. She's going to have to talk to a very cool group of people at a mastermind event.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, and so I actually wish I could be there, but I'm not invited. so you can give me, yeah, right. But that's going to be cool. So I need afterwards. I just need to know all the things you said. I look at your outline or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe you can give a
We can
second round.
We can talk a little bit about what I'm going to do because it's a new application that'll blow your mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, let's do that. So, AI is. We were just talking about this off air. It is. I think it's the biggest thing, like developmentally speaking, that has happened in my lifetime.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are starting to see that.
Yes.
A lot of people haven't seen it, but they will.
Yeah. I mean, I was mentioning to you, I mean, it's not only the biggest thing we've seen in our lifetimes, but it is absolutely industry shifting and world changing, in my opinion.
Yeah. It is, it's like we haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, you always see these sort of massive shifts. And then after a shift, you see all these little tweaks that happen within that paradigm. And when AI, I mean, honestly, AI on some level, machine learning has been around for a while, right? It's been baked into certain applications that people use. But it was when ChatGPT dropped there, was it 3.30 or whatever it was?
November 2022.
Yeah, that was the moment, right?
It was the moment.
When everyone went, oh, like everyone was welcomed in to engage with this in a user-friendly front-end kind of way.
It was a brilliant business move.
It was.
Yeah.
They became just like Apple got the first smartphone, so it was iPhone forever after that.
It set Google on its heels.
Oh my gosh.
And put Google behind for probably the first time since it became the thing.
Isn't that fun to watch? Just from the outside, I love
I'm not
watching
gonna
that kind of
lie.
massive industry disruption.
Yeah. Being in the business I'm in, I have a love-hate relationship with Google, so it's kind of fun to watch Google squirm.
You've had a couple moments where you hated Google.
I've had many moments where I've hated Google.
Yeah, Google has and it's not just Google that does this, but
No.
they're like the player. I mean, when you're talking about stock investing, there's FANG, right? And the G in FANG is Google, right? So they are like one of the largest players, and then F is Facebook, right?
Yep.
So they're the players, and they make the rules,
They make the
and have
rules.
made the rules for 20 years, basically.
And have actually killed a lot of businesses with their bots and technology by just shutting them down without warning. And they're so large, people have no recourse.
Right.
And so I actually teach a lot about that too.
Yeah.
Not putting all your eggs in one basket, no matter how good the basket is
Right.
at that moment.
I learned that a lot from you and presentations I've heard you make about the more online your business is, which everybody's business more or less should be on some level online, but like our business with Lake Expo is extremely online. And so the more it is, the more I think that applies. Like not leaning just on your SEO, good SEO to be the only thing that carries you, or not just leaning on your Facebook page because we got a lot of followers. Because, again, years ago, we saw what happened. It was like, oh, create a page and then you'll have all this audience.
How about 2 days ago? Did you hear about the groups thing?
No.
Facebook shut down hundreds of AI groups without warning, like completely, like people lost the hundreds of thousands of followers. Like AI groups that I follow to learn and stay ahead.
What does an AI group mean?
Shut them down.
What do you mean an AI group? A group that was about AI or made by...
Groups that were about AI. People would come together to share and learn about AI, and Facebook shut them all down.
Shut them down.
2 days ago.
And again, we have been warned about this in previous instances. COVID, anybody? Where it's like the platform can just decide for whatever reason they want, shareholders or ideology or competitive whatever, that they don't like what is happening in a particular segment, and they just obliterate it. So they change the rules.
It went mad. So online, people were talking about it like crazy, at least in my space, and a lot of major influencers in the AI space were impacted. And so Facebook finally came around and they're like, oh, oops. But so the groups are back online, but they're locked out while they evaluate the situation. So think about the commerce impacted there, like literally overnight, 100% out of control of these people.
Yeah. So those platforms are, they have been, to say that they've been dominant is an understatement. They have been the dictators of their spaces. And so it's kind of fun when ChatGPT just drops into the middle and everybody just, falls backwards and doesn't know what to do with this brand new thing. And all of a sudden, we're not even 3 years in from ChatGPT parachuting in. And I don't Google stuff the way I used to Google stuff anymore. I don't never use Google. But I don't use it for a certain segment of things that I used to use it for.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed there in terms of people's habits?
So that is a global thing that's going on. I watched a podcast with Gary Vee. And so he was in front of a live audience with like 5,000 people. And he had people in the audience stand up that say they don't use Google anymore. Like they predominantly use AI. ChatGPT, doesn't really matter the model.
Right.
The point is that people are not going to Google nearly as much. And for the first time in its history, Google has lost market share in search. And that's massive. Massive.
Yeah. I mean, Google search was a solution to a problem when they launched in, what was it, around 2001? Or I can't remember when
they
Google
were
search.
Around in 97, 98, but they were kind of the new search kit on the block. Like when I was doing this and started my company, we were Asking Jeeves. Do you remember Ask Jeeves?
Oh, totally.
And,
Asking Jeeves and Yahoo Search
Excite,
and Alta Vista.
Big Mama.
Yep.
So, so they were around, but then they quickly, rose to the top.
Because they had created a superior search engine that actually delivered. And how did you know it was superior? Because it gave you the thing you wanted faster, better, right?
Yes.
Like you were like, I need this thing, and you put some input terms into a search box, and the Google result was better.
The best.
Yeah. And so they were a solution, right?
Yep.
And so then all of a sudden now, which it's funny too, because I mean, I don't know how all this happens behind the scenes, but I would bet that Google and Facebook and Apple and all the big digital players had some kind of AI product in the works, on the shelf. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that that's the case because all of a sudden when ChatGPT landed, wow, all of a sudden all these companies had an AI answer within 6 months.
So I don't know if you remember this, but our mutual friend, Tony Stukin, who has passed, he presented in our BNI group 2 years before ChatGPT. He presented Google phone product where it was all AI driven. Then we'd answer the phone, sound like a human person.
And our minds were blown.
Google was way ahead in AI until ChatGPT just decided to drop the product to the public. That's why I said brilliant business move, because they instantly, I mean, I can't remember the exact stat, but it was within months that they had over 1 million users, and they got to see the data on how people were using it, and then it's instantly evolved on what people were doing with it.
Well, Google scrambled to go,
was like,
oh
wait.
gosh, we weren't going to launch ours until whenever we wanted to because we are in charge. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're not in charge as much as you thought you were anymore. So I enjoy that. I enjoy watching that.
I do too.
Personally.
I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but I saw it's in one of the groups that I follow that might be shut down now. But there is a live commercial right now. I don't know where it's airing, but it is Sam Altman. So Sam Altman made the brilliant move of bringing the guy, I can't remember his name, but he was the guy that literally invented the iPhone, like worked for Steve Jobs and Apple. So he's the guy that was the brain power behind the iPhone itself. So now he is partnered with Sam Altman at OpenAI, and they did a commercial that they're just sort of walking and talking, and they're talking about how what's coming is going to essentially eliminate cell phones completely. Tease.
Okay.
But
wow, big tease.
But if they put a commercial out there about it, what is it?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, now I need to go find this. I haven't seen this yet.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's so disruptive, and that's why it's so fun to watch and be part of. Definitely, there's always should be like reason for thoughtfulness, and there's a lot of people who are very trepidatious about it.
Yes.
But I think you also have to recognize that it is here, and in the same way that, I mean, think of if you would have been, well, folks probably were slow adopters to Google search, but eventually, I mean, again, it was like, just Google it. And it was like, it wasn't just whatever alternative browser it was, alternative search engine it.
So when
just
people
Google
like
it,
me
and now it's going to be that with AI.
we were hesitant to switch to Google, but now people younger than me out there today, they don't know a world without Google. And when it comes to AI, I did a presentation in 2022 in Denver to the National Association of Forensic Document Examiners for their national convention, talking about AI. And so I called the lady to ask about the demographic of the audience. She said really old men. And I'm like, so it's a friendly audience for my topic. So I knew going in that they were going to be skeptics, and especially thinking 2022 was still just not extremely widely adopted nor accepted. And I just went up and I said, hey, how many of you are grandparents? Almost 100% of the room raised their hand. And like, your grandchildren will grow up not knowing a world without AI.
Right.
So if you're afraid of it, you need to change your thinking now.
Right.
Because that's all they're going to know.
Yep.
What does that world look like?
Yep. Learn the language.
Yeah.
So there's a gazillion directions that I go. I think about AI almost as much as about any other topic these days, because I just am fascinated with understanding it. Like we were talking about, I was a philosophy major in college, and that kind of is my intellectual and heart orientation, and going into any topic is to go, what is this thing exactly? And kind of to like go deep down the rabbit hole of what is this thing? What isn't this thing? How does it change us when we use it? All those things. So I don't know, I might cover some of those things deeper in future conversations, but can you like maybe broadly summarize how you're seeing it change people's behaviors? And then the thing that we talked about a little bit before going on, which was for the average person who's actually started using AI, ChatGPT, which a lot of people haven't. I mean, there's a lot of people who have not. My sister just a few weeks ago said, I finally downloaded ChatGPT and I feel like a true millennial now. And I was like, yeah, well, you're very late, but she also has a lot of children and she's busy. Right. But actually, it's like, well, that's a good reason to hurry up and get it, because it solves a lot of problems for you on all kinds of levels. And now she screenshots me things that it's helping her through. I mean, yeah, again, all the topics, right, that we know that you would now take to ChatGPT and you go, why would I Google that thing? I would have to put in some archaic. Now, when you think about the search terms that you used to use in a Google search, how to make something, whatever. And now I go to ChatGPT and I'm like, okay, so what I'm trying to work on right now is, and I type in this whole thing, and the more detail you give it, the better the output is.
Exactly.
Whereas before with the Google search, it was the opposite almost. It was like, try to just crisp it down to like 3 or 4 words and then hope for the best, you know?
Yeah.
And so all that to say, there's people who have not adopted it at all, haven't touched it at all yet. I think my wife is one of these actually. And so I just tell her what I'm doing with it. But for people that have, so these are my 2 questions. I asked very long, convoluted questions.
That's okay.
The first question is, how have you seen it changing people's behaviors, either on the just kind of normal folks side or on the business side or both? And then secondly, for people that are like, I'm interested, I'm like, I want to use it. I want to use it in my personal life or in my business or both. What's the next step after you've figured out how it works with ChatGPT? You're like, oh, okay, yeah, it can take my inputs and can make really cool outputs. It can read my documents I upload. It can make me images.
Yeah.
Now what should I be doing? So there's my 2 questions that'll probably take a minute to unpack. So go.
A minute, yeah. So, I mean, the AI has gotten a lot smarter and a lot better. It is evolving really fast. And if you think about it, it's because they have all the data of how people are using it, and they can tweak the models based on usage and
Right.
learning how people are engaging with it. So on a, to the point of your wife and people who maybe aren't in the business space and wouldn't have a business case use for it, I mean, you could set it up as your personal life coach. I know that sounds weird because it's not alive, but it has a vast amount of data from the best coaches in the world to pull from.
Right.
And you have to be knowledgeable about how to prompt it, or even better yet, create like a custom GPT around, coaches, people that you follow. But you can leverage it in so many ways in the home. I mean, now with ChatGPT, so I've heard use cases where people go in, they take a picture with their refrigerator open, and then it's like, here's my refrigerator, here's my pantry, what should I make tonight? And it just goes off the image and tells them based on the ingredients.
I've heard this too. I've not tried it, but I
haven't tried it either.
Yeah.
But I mean, just from a home, what would I do? How to fix things in the home, super easy. And ChatGPT, and I predominantly use ChatGPT, so I'm not going to refer. You'll hear me say ChatGPT a lot, but there's a lot of other models that do the same thing. But when you're searching for how to do something in ChatGPT, a lot of times it'll return YouTube videos as the answer. So, there's a lot of use cases there. But for business, the power behind the paid ChatGPT model, and it's funny because I get clients that will kind of balk. It's like, I have to pay $20 a month. I don't want another subscription.
Sure, right.
But for that $20 a month, you have every expert on the planet that you could ever imagine.
Find one to cancel. Cancel one of your video streaming subscriptions if you can't afford it, and do this one. Yeah.
So I'll give you a use case for me. So for MSW Interactive Designs, I have custom GPTs set up for financials, for my financial analysis. I upload all of my financials and have it do monthly analysis for me, trend lines, things like that. I have another GPT for my HR stuff. I have another GPT for like if I'm going to do, let's say, strategic planning for the year. So I'll take what I've got from 2024, upload all the stuff, talk about where I think I want to go, and then put it in and have it help me with strategic planning. And what the models are really good at, if you think about it, and a lot of people don't press it, but I press it and I argue with it, is, okay, so here's what it'll come back and it'll give you this brilliant answer. And a lot of people take that answer like, man, this is great. And then they go. But then I'm like, okay, well, this looks great. What are we missing?
Right.
What are the blind spots? What are the potential friction points along the way? And you really get at doing some deep analysis on whatever your challenge is. Like, go deeper, and the insights that it brings to the table are absolutely amazing. We build custom GPTs for all of our clients, and so they can leverage the power too. And then we utilize them to train on the client.
Right.
So then what that does is it allows our team. So if we have a turnover and a team member, we already have a custom trained GPT. So, a new team member coming onto the account is less apt to make a mistake relative to the client.
Yeah, they don't have to learn voice and all the background info that the previous team member perhaps knew, but it doesn't matter actually because the GPT knows it. And then the point of, but which by the way, it didn't eliminate you needing a team member, a human being using it. They had to just use it well, right? It eliminated a whole element of them using it that was. It was like, it's better for the GPT to have this part of it anyways, and then you use the tool well.
Yeah.
Articulate the difference without, us being able to have like a screen in front of us showing this between a custom GPT and a new chat with ChatGPT. Are those the same thing or are those different things?
They're very different.
Very different things.
Very
Okay.
different things.
I know that ChatGPT remembers things that I tell it specifically, remember this, and you can go and you can find all of the saved memories. And in the free version, there's like not all that much it'll let you have. And in the paid one, I don't know if it's not limitless, I guess, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, so you don't have the limits, but with just the generic GPT, even if it's the paid version, you're still going to have limits. You still have to clear memory. So you still ultimately have to end up retraining the GPT because you have to clear your memory to keep going.
Right.
Whereas with the custom GPT, you keep building on the model and the results. So with a custom GPT, I could give, let's just say I have, 3 clients set up with their own custom GPTs. I could talk to it about doing a strategic post that's going to drive a lot of engagement. And the post that it will give me for the 3 that are trained is going to be absolutely unique to that business, to their ideal client persona. Whereas the one that comes from the plain GPT is just going to be a general kind of in theory, you should do this.
Right.
But then these are going to be finely tuned in the client's voice and then directed at that audience. But you have to, of course, train it to do all of that.
Where are you doing that? Because this is the area that I know I got to learn within ChatGPT or AI. Where are you going with it? Because that's what I mean. I always just interact with creating a new chat and talking, and I know it has saved memories. And sometimes, actually, funny story. I was building this fire pit project all winter, and it took me into the spring and took a very long time. And I had all these kind of visions for what I wanted to do with it, and I used ChatGPT the whole way through. And I was, I had a pickaxe, and I'm like chiseling through the Ozark soil and rock, and asking it different questions about how deep does this trench need to be for the water runoff, and da 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 da.
That's brilliant. I love that.
And so it. I also just have fun talking to it. I feel a little weird about that, but I just do. And so I was complaining to it aloud or something like that, and it referred to the fire pit. It said in the future you could call it Yowl's Folly, and I was like, "What is Yowl? What are you talking about, Yowl?" And it said, "Well, that's you." And I was like,
"What?
That's not me. I'm not Yowl." And it was like, "Whoa, I thought you were Yowl." And we had this. It was a kind of a funny conversation. I went back in my saved memories and found I use ChatGPT to write headlines for clients, and so we had done a piece. There's literally a company, shout out to Yowl Concrete at Lake of the Ozarks, client of ours, who I had used. I think I uploaded the content of their article. I was like, "Give me some headlines for this, but make sure the name Yowl is in the headline." Yowl Concrete. And it somehow, from the way I said it or something, thought that I was saying that was my name. So secretly it had all along been thinking I was Yowl.
So it kind of hallucinated from the memory, even though you were in a new thread.
Right. Yeah. So it did have that saved in the background. And finally I found it and just hard deleted that memory. And now it doesn't call me Yowl anymore. But all that to say, that's where I have engaged with those sort of things that you can tell it, remember this, and it will use that to inform its outputs, even in new chat conversations. But a custom GPT is like a level up from that.
Yeah.
So where do you go to do that, or how does somebody get started?
So you go into ChatGPT, and you have to have the paid version, and on the left-hand side of the screen in the newest release. So depending on when you're listening to this, right now it's on the left-hand side of the screen near the top, and you just click on GPTs. And it'll take you to a screen where there will be a bunch of pre-trained GPTs that do a variety of different things. And these are GPTs that were created by other humans and then listed in the ChatGPT store. And then up in the upper right, there is a create button. and you just click on the create button, and all of a sudden you are into the custom GPT builder.
Is it worth buying these GPTs that people make? I mean, are there any interesting?
Honestly, I have not explored too many of them. There's a Canva one that's pretty good but now, so before, ChatGPT did not integrate with Canva, so the Canva one was very good. Now, ChatGPT by default does integrate with Canva, so you don't need it anymore.
Those integrations, those are also all on like paid.
They're all on paid. Yes. But yeah, so here's pro tip, ninja tip, whatever you want to call it. All you have to do, just open another window, right click at the top of the browser, duplicate window, and then on the left side, use ChatGPT to help you build your custom GPT.
Okay.
And I do that all the time. So I'll go into regular ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, I need to build a custom GPT to do this, and this. I don't want it to do this. And then I'll be like, give me the best set of custom instructions to meet that objective. And then I'll take those custom instructions, put it into the custom GPT, and then you're off and running.
That's amazing. And I love that about how ChatGPT works, is that you can ask it to help you with the right prompt. Like, help me say the right things so I get the right outputs from you.
Yeah.
Like it's a tool that teaches you how to use it.
Yeah. So I have a strategic advisor GPT that I created.
Okay.
And so I told my strategic advisor GPT that I'm going to bring in business challenges or business ideas. And, so if you just use regular GPT and you come in and you give it an idea, a lot of times you'll get, hey, Nathan, that's a great idea. Or, that's incredible that you thought of that. And here's the da-da-da-da-da. And so my custom trained strategic advisor GPT does not say that. What it does is it comes back and asks questions to probe deeper, challenges my thinking, and it's trained to bring up blind spots out of the gate. Like, have you considered this? And if you haven't, these are some of the things that could potentially happen. And then I can engage with it that way. So I essentially have a live strategic advisor.
A devil's advocate is what you have.
Essentially, yeah.
Because you're right, like the way, and this is actually what makes ChatGPT fun, and they obviously built it this way. It's very agreeable, generally.
It
right?
is agreeable.
To a fault,
Until
generally.
you tell it not to be.
And so it tells you you're a genius, and it feels very nice, and it tells you that your ideas are great, and all these things. And so, and it can be pretty funny the way it just all of a sudden just characterizes itself as like, it's your biggest cheerleader, right?
Yeah.
That's fun on entry level using it and kind of getting familiar with it. But you're right. Eventually, you're like, well, you know what I need more than a cheerleader is an analyzer of problems, a discoverer of problems, a tool that thinks 100 steps ahead, like of things that I could have thought of, but it would take me time to sit up there and think of it, or waking up at 4 a.m. and going, oh no, I need to do right.
Yeah.
And it'll just do those for you.
Well, so I'm going to take that, absolutely true, and things that you could have thought of given enough time, yes, but we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And so a strategic advisor GPT, like you might not even know that this framework or solution exists, so you wouldn't even know to think of it. And so that's where the power really comes in. And so that's why I have that built so that I can go and I'll be like, I don't know. There's a gap there, and I have no idea how to get from here to there, and it helps me.
There's some things that you do, like for that specifically, to teach it to give you those kinds of outputs, like gaps in your knowledge kind of outputs. Because like you were saying earlier, like on the self-help side of things, there's a lot of actually really helpful stuff out there on the internet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even admission right here, I use it when I'm reading the Bible or teaching our life group at church. I'm like, all right, where was that this thing happened? Or this is an interesting connection between this and this, but I don't actually know if I'm just making that up. And it'll like, I can ask it that, and it can real time bring forward even things that other people have written about. I mean, it doesn't like always quote them, but
Yeah.
things. What I'm trying to say is like gaps in my knowledge there where I'm like, whoa. And it wasn't like it hallucinated some new thing. It took stuff that was already all out there. It's just Google on like the craziest steroids possible,
Yeah.
right? It's just accessing all that stuff instantly, aggregating it, outputting it in a way that's really, really concise and useful. So how do you do that with the business advisor or that side of it? How have you gotten it to give you the kinds of outputs or the things that you've said to it to set
Yeah.
it up that'll consistently challenge you and also speak to those gaps in your knowledge?
So I'll use my industry, which is marketing, web design, search engine optimization, that sort of stuff, right? So we write a lot of content. So you know that I subscribe to the StoryBrand framework. And I love the approaches of Russell Brunson, Myron Golden, Alex Hormozy. These are all experts that I leverage their frameworks in my own approaches to what we do for clients. Those are the ones I know. So what I do in my custom trained strategic advisor GPT is I'm like, hey, we subscribe to these people, meaning we subscribe to their philosophies and implement them because we know that they work. However, there's likely blind spots, challenges, things, gaps in those as well.
Right.
So challenge me. I would say challenge me. So when I come up with something and say, this is what we're going to do, here's the approach, give me the result, I want it to challenge me, so I tell it to challenge me.
Okay.
And so that's how. And then it introduces, and then you can be specific. Bring up new frameworks that I haven't even mentioned.
Right.
And then it will do that.
So you tell it specifically in this case, here are the things that I do know.
Yeah.
And here's the paradigm I'm operating in. Your job is to bring me new frameworks, new paradigms, new ideas that specifically challenge those, not always because I'm going to abandon those frameworks, but to help me fill those gaps. And so the way to do that is to say, here's exactly where I'm coming from. And I think, is it true that probably the more info you give it, the better on that stuff? Yeah, like the more you say, the more you kind of fill out its profile on how you're approaching things.
That's where the human brain comes in.
Right.
Right. That's why, at least right now, it's not replacing people. So, I could take a young marketer straight out of school that tells me they know how to operate ChatGPT. And at this point in time, that doesn't impress me.
Right.
Because you need to know the business frameworks and the reasons behind the business frameworks, the things that work.
Are you saying I'm not impressive? That's what I'm hearing.
No, no, that sounds like a personal limitation thinking issue to me. No, I think
You're right.
Brilliant man.
I'm terrible.
But what I'm saying is, though, there's value in what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
So bring it to the table when you're talking to ChatGPT.
Right.
Because you come with a preset, framework of things that you do. So share it and then just ask to be challenged.
This is good because I think this is exactly why it was literally this morning somebody had sent me a YouTube video they were watching on what AI is doing and what it will not do. And of course, you're hearing this mantra more and more because people are wanting to understand it and talk about it. But the thing it will not do is replace you, Sandy. Because only one person is Sandy, right? I mean, you can get it to know a lot of the things that you know, but you, the person.
So this would be a good time to talk about the presentation I'm doing for the thing in August.
Yeah.
Because I'm going in August to present to a gathering of authors, the top 50 New York Times best-selling business authors, marketing authors. So think like Ryan Deiss, Mel Robbins, James Clear, Donald Miller,
No pressure.
Mike Michalowicz. Yeah, so I was invited to go and teach them how to use AI for their personal brand to produce things at scale and monetize it. And so my entire presentation is on replacing them from the standpoint that we can now create an entire system that is scalable and monetizable where they are the coach, only it's the AI fully trained on all of their content. Think all of their manuscripts, all of their YouTube stuff, all of their pods, all of their anything that they've produced in their voice with their very high quality AI likeness. It sounds creepy, but it's not. It's powerful. It's like incredible leverage, because if you think about an author, or let's just say a CEO or a coach of any kind, you can create one of these. It's not complicated. You just have to understand the nuances to make it really good. And if you can create a coach that can talk to you in the voice of Profit First, Mike Michalowicz, he can sell a subscription to have a Profit First coach for $75 a month globally. And the AI will talk to you and interact with Mike, AI Mike, and get all of the answers that Mike Michalowicz would give in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike has access to the entire transcript. So he's collecting all the data on this user. So if you can imagine, like, data is the gold,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he's got the subscription. So you've got the MRR, monthly recurring revenue, that's coming in globally, because
Right.
now he can scale, like,
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
And then he's got all the data of all the users. This is why Google owns the world, because of all the data
Right.
that they have. And beyond that, with all of that data, then he can get them into his pipeline to upsell on the bigger products. So it is a marketing engine, essentially, that I'm going to teach them how to build and execute. And that technology exists today. And there's one, Arnold Schwarzenegger has one. I mean, in case
course,
you want
yeah, great.
Arnold.
Mhm.
I can't say.
Arnold.
You do it well.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it well. But so there's a lot of major influencers, celebrities that have done this already. Actually, let me say that. Let me take that back. It's not a lot. Like, if you go and explore, I think there might be less than 50 on their websites. This is very early, but this technology has been around for almost 3 years,
Mhm.
and it's evolved. It's not ChatGPT, but in one of the masterminds I was in, it's Brendan Burchard who put it out there and had been building it for 3 years and introduced it to us 3 years ago. And so saw it coming out, and the fidelity of it is insane.
Hmm.
The voice, the video, and imagine, like, you just have a conversation with Mike Michalowicz or Donald Miller whenever you want, and it's incredible.
The idea behind that, of course, being that the person who's having the conversation knows that it's not literally Mike
Correct.
there. They're talking with. So then here's they know they're talking with an AI, but the value that it brings, it's like, well, yeah, but it's still worth it. So then here's my kind of follow-up question on that is, why can't I just create a Mike Michalowicz custom GPT in my, sorry, Mike, for the using the name all over the place here, but just theoretically,
Right.
In my paid version of ChatGPT and upload as much as I can get of his info from the internet onto it, what would be the difference there?
So you can
Mhm.
do that, but you don't have access, nor does Google, and to all of the manuscripts, the actual voice, like the level of detail. That's why I was saying the fidelity of this is so much better. And on this particular platform, they have to. So I'm building Mike's right now, and then Mike has to go in and show his ID and verify that it's him and it's okay to produce it.
Oh, I see. There's
So
a lot of verification. And it's
there's-
like, this is him approving this,
Yes.
approving of this, kind of
Yes.
recreating his image
Yes.
there and all that.
So there are a lot of checks and balances. Now, to your point, what I actually have a custom GPT called StoryBrand GPT.
Mhm.
It is not Donald Miller's GPT. It is my GPT that I created, and I went and told my custom GPT that I wanted to utilize the StoryBrand framework in all of the content that I write. And so we went out and all of the publicly accessible data
Right.
it assembled. So it is not the voice of Donald Miller. It is Donald Miller's teachings. Whereas this is the voice of, and the stuff comes directly from the teachings and not from anywhere else.
And because these language models are so good, I assume it'll feel as much like you were talking to that person as it almost would if they were, other than them not being there in the flesh and blood, right? But
Yeah.
it would feel very natural.
Well, if you don't have
and
access,
you'll respond to questions and thoughts and sort of whatever, and in the moment. It's
Yeah.
not like a pre-programmed. It has 8 outputs and it gives you those. and you
No,
can follow, right? Yeah,
no. It's
like,
very real time, highly engaging. It's just like you're talking to ChatGPT, only you're talking to the expert. That
and it's like
out
replicating
there.
their voice.
Yeah.
too,
So
and
just like
their
ChatGPT,
sound voice, not their writing voice, or both.
well,
Yeah, both. Yeah.
both. Yeah. So just like in ChatGPT, you can type and it'll give you the text back, or you can talk and it'll talk to you back.
Right.
Same thing here, only when it talks back, it's in the influencer celebrity's voice. And then there's also a video component, and the video will come on and talk to you. So yeah,
So that like takes care of an entire layer of, for people that are doing what he's doing, takes care of an entire layer of like a monetization, I don't want to say pyramid, but architecture.
it's a ladder.
So
It's an offer
it's
ladder.
like, okay, so that one is the one where you get to talk to like the AI version that has been like taught everything that this person has got, and they informed it and they approved it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to like move up the ladder, then I mean, probably I would assume there's a point at which you're sitting in a room with that person. Is that
Exactly.
the idea?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's entry level, and
Right.
they don't have access to or the resources yet to get in the room one-on-one. Then that is a stepping stone, and then you come into their marketing system, and the marketing system will work you through
Right.
elevating up the ladder
Right.
of the offers that are available.
Right.
So and any business owner can do this for their business. And so think about a way to leverage that. So I'm in the process right now of building one for my company as a marketing coach. And then also we're going to leverage it on our website. So you can embed the thing in the website. So I'm not actually going to charge for the QA that I'm going to put on the website. So anybody can come to our website and actually start engaging and just asking questions. And I'm going to train it on our approach that has the foundations of all of these other approaches under it. And I mean, what it does for your users and prospects is incredible, because you
Right.
bring value first. People determine if they want to work with you based on kind of the value you bring to the table, and that's immense value.
And this is all, so we've been talking about, and we're going long, but I'm not even sorry about it.
I don't even know how much time we've been in. Like, I could talk about this all day.
I know, me too.
So,
But
I'll have to come back. And we'll go
might have
into
to,
more depth.
honestly. And yeah, because what we've been talking about specifically, this application of it applies to people who are kind of, I hate this term, by the way, but it's in the atmosphere, like content creators, right?
Oh,
There are
yeah.
people who are coaches and writers and speakers, and there are people whose product, at least kind of, is content, thoughts, ideas, and communication, right?
Sure.
But it's a whole different conversation, I think, for a guy who owns a small plumbing business at the lake, right? Or
But
for,
is it?
well, I don't know. You tell me. It seems like it's different, but maybe help me bridge that connection over to somebody, because most folks aren't by nature thinking of themselves as
Yeah.
I'm out there like, addressing the peoples and giving them my brilliance, and they're flocking to me for these coaching sessions. It's like, no, I turn a wrench, or I manage a group of guys that turn a wrench, right? So
Yeah.
like,
But
help
you
me
have
port that over.
customers. You have customers out there who don't turn wrenches and have questions. And so what if you took your vast knowledge as an expert in the plumbing field and trained one of these things, or hired someone to train one for you, and because it doesn't take long, and you put that on your website, and you can train it to give whatever answers you want. So it could be very simple questions where they don't necessarily call you. You're still collecting their information to use it, but it's not someone that needs your services right now. It's not taking up someone's time on the phone.
Right.
You're learning about this customer, and then they come into your ecosystem because it's so simple to ask a question It's like the IT guy, when someone calls with a very basic problem, they're like, did you reboot your computer?
Is it on? Or
Right.
did you try restarting?
Yeah. So you can leverage this technology on your website to reduce, I hate to say reduce manpower, but let's just say better leverage the staff you have, because they don't have to answer the unnecessary phone calls.
I was going to say, because a lot of people's reaction would be like, well, I'll put myself out of business doing that. And I think what you're saying is so good, because it's like, no, you're going to have it do the stuff that is driving your business crazy right now.
Yeah.
Dealing with this stuff where you're like, I didn't want to go out to that call anyways. And they were going to call and take up my office manager or my person, whoever's time, my guy who's on the job right now, who I had to field the call to or whatever. And it's like, no, you can
train it to ask. You can train it to ask questions of the person interacting with it, and then the AI can tell you it's time to call. Pick up the phone, call. Okay. We need to schedule an appointment. Like, you could literally train it and guide it into those things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power in that. So
that sounds like a solution.
It's absolutely a solution.
To go back to sort of where we were starting. And but again, the doing of that feels like a problem for a lot of business owners. Yes. I mean, unless you like this stuff, which, by the way, you should be jumping in to exploring AI, like you were saying earlier. Like, it's time, if you want to kind of be part of where it's all going, you need to be playing with it, exploring it, seeing how it works. I tend to think that one of the ways that you see how it works is just to kind of play with it, just do stuff with it. I remember when we got our first computer it was 1995, I think. It was a Pentium 1, 133 megahertz processor on that thing. It was screaming.
Yeah.
And it was like this custom built thing. And the guy that my dad bought it from told him, because we didn't even know how to use a computer really. And he said, just play with it. And you won't be able to break it. I mean, could have. But
you could have.
Realistically,
you're not going to break it.
You're not going to, right. And so I think the principle is similar and even better here. Just get on and play with it and you'll learn a lot. But I think what you'll also do is then recognize, like what you've just been talking about, this is something that I see now the value of. I just don't exactly know how to build that. Or frankly, I don't want to build that. Or I don't want, like, there's always this hurdle, and half of it is a mental hurdle. Yeah. But to getting to doing the thing, we all have this in our businesses. Yeah. There's this set of things you're like, this would level up what I'm doing so much, but I got all this stuff in between it, to operational, just mayhem. And I think that sounds like that's what you guys have really leaned into.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have to in our industry.
Right.
So if companies in my industry are not doing that, they're going to be left behind. So, because this is where it's going. Mm-hmm. And so that's why when November 2022, when ChatGPT was released, and people in my industry and all, they were kind of like, oh my gosh, this is going to put people out of business. Bye-bye, web design, marketing agents. No, absolutely not. Bye-bye to the ones who don't adapt.
Right.
But, my business is 26 years old. I've had to adapt a lot of times. Yeah. So you have to not only leverage it, but you have to get aggressive with it. And that's what I did. So that's the change that you've seen. It's critical that we stay ahead of it, because our clients don't stay ahead of it and they turn to us as the experts. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm a fan, was clearly a fan.
Clearly.
And I'm very committed to staying ahead of the game.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad somebody is. And again, I like to think that I'm probably ahead of average in my understanding of it, but absolutely. I learn a lot from you every time we talk about it. In fact, I tried to crowd in on a meeting you were having yesterday just to talk more about it. I actually got politely told, let's talk about this later.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It was sort of you and sort of somebody else that pressured me out of this meeting. Yeah, I was crashing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, no,
I was not aware.
I was in the middle of you. I was trying to crash your meeting. But my point is, I think it's fascinating. I've learned a lot from you about it. So what should business owners do? I have actually on the table here your business in action. I think this is an older issue, but I love that you started doing this. The kind of, is this, how often are you doing this?
It comes out every other month.
Okay. Good.
So yeah, every
And
60 days.
who all's getting that?
Right now, my clients and prospects.
Yeah, good. Well, I love it,
Yeah.
and you've got a great like real gems in there. And again, it's all just the bigger picture of how you and then MSW are continue to just like be a resource for like businesses. You're not just pushing like one particular button, right? You're a pretty rich resource. And so like when business owners, if they hear this, if they're thinking about this, like what should they do, or what's their first step? I mean, just reach out and go, I need help.
Yeah. So, couple things. Can I just add in? So, and this is another episode because we could go deep on this for people who care, and maybe it's an article instead. I don't know. But the face of search is changing and will be massively different than it is today by the end of the year. So, if you're a business owner and you are, lucky enough to be ranking on page 1 of Google, get ready, because that will likely change if you are not working the AI angle right now. People who are working the AI angle right now are going to outpace you in search, and because the way we search Google is going to be done sooner than later. So to that point, if they want to talk AI or learn more about this whole approach, maybe integrating AI in their business, if they just go to the MSW Interactive Designs.com website, you can book a free strategy call. There's a button, you click it, it brings up my personal calendar. The strategy call is with me.
Not the AI version of you.
Not the AI version of
Sandy's
me.
in.
No, it's just
All right.
me. We'll jump on a Zoom call and I can guide you in whatever direction you want to go.
Okay.
And it's not a sales call. I mean, it's a genuinely helpful call. Yeah.
I believe that because I have seen the amount of free information that you have given out over the years. And again, what that obviously does is it builds credibility for you and then grows your business. But I do encourage people to connect with you and MSW because you guys have always stayed on the bleeding edge of what's happening. And like we've talked before, and again, that's for other episodes, but things are, the more you're operating in the world of the internet with your business, the faster and more frequently stuff changes.
Yeah.
And somebody is going to be better at staying ahead of that than you are as Joe business owner who's like, I can't stay on top of that. I got people to manage and stuff to do, right? So,
and to be, there's companies out there that are doing cool things in the tech space and, in the space that we do, but we come at it from not the cool side. We come at it from the system side and like the stuff that's really meaningful to the long-term success of your business in this space. So, I mean, that is our angle. And I think the differentiator.
Yeah, great. Well, we'll send folks to you. I'll let you go. We're going to do this in under an hour, so that's at least something.
Yeah,
but I do kind of feel the makings of
I can't believe it's been an hour.
multi-part series
It
coming out
doesn't
here.
feel like it.
Yeah. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving some time to this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I mean, you're the person I think of when I think of I need to know things about AI. I'm asking you questions about it. So again, thanks everybody for listening. That's been our take on the lake. If you would subscribe, if you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, follow our page. If you're listening on any of your podcast apps, subscribe. That helps us, obviously, helps me stay in front of you, and helps you share stuff with folks that you think is worthwhile. Hope you think this is worthwhile, but that would be a huge favor if you do that. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and stay anchored, stay curious. We'll see you soon.